Collin was my oldest of 5 children. He had just turned 13 years old. He was just an amazing kid. He was smart, he was fun, he was outgoing, he was talented. Collin had come and said goodbye because his school starts earlier than my other kids, so he came to my bedroom and said, "Okay, Mom, I'm leaving. Goodbye." I said, "Bye, I love you." And 5 minutes after he had left, usually when he leaves, that's my cue to get up and start getting the other kids ready. So I got up, and 5 minutes later heard sirens. And I'm the type of person that tends to jump to conclusions or to panic before I should. And so I tried to tell myself, I'm sure everything's fine. It could be anything. There's stations nearby, so they're constantly going by anyway. But once I looked out the back window and saw that traffic had backed up on the street behind my house, I started to get concerned, and I went and looked out the window and saw that the ambulance was on that corner and was the EMTs were working on somebody on the ground. And I ran downstairs real fast and stopped my husband, who was leaving, and said, "Wait, run outside and make sure that's not Collin in the road." And even as I said that, I'm telling myself, you're crazy, everything's fine, you're freaking yourself out for nothing. And so I threw some clothes on, and I couldn't wait because he was walking out there. I'm like, "Run!" So I told my other son to watch the kids real quick, that I would be right back, and I took off running outside and got out of the fence at the park, and first thing I noticed were Collin's shoes laying in the road. And I knew what had happened. And my heart just sunk, and I just was beside myself with every emotion possible. And so I ran over to him, and of course they're still working on him, and the cop stopped me and says, "We got Mom and Dad here." I said, "Well, is he okay? Is he alive? Is he breathing?" And he said, "He's breathing, but it doesn't look very good." And so we just kind of stood off to the side and just prayed, and he kept giving us worse and worse reports. He came back and said he's gone into cardiac arrest, and we've got life flight coming in, but I just don't know if there's a whole lot we can do. And of course I still hung on to hope, but I ran over to the ambulance and yelled inside as they were giving him CPR, and I said, "Come on, Collin, you gotta pull through. We need you." And a minute or two later, the guy walked over shaking his head and told us that he was gone, and it was just a nightmare. It felt like a nightmare. It didn't feel real. It was too much to comprehend, too much to, take in all at once, and it's the worst day of my life. The school's just directly across the street, so he just had to cross the one street to get there. Some days I feel like a robot, like I just am on autopilot, because when your child dies, a certain part of you dies too, and you go throughout life just kind of, as you normally did, but without the same feeling, without that same emotion.